What does Wikipedia say?
Faith. All right. Wikipedia says faith is the confident belief or trust in the truth or trustworthiness of a person, concept, or thing. And then they break it down and say it's from Latin fidem or fides, meaning trust, derived from the verb fidere, to trust.
It's probably where you get fidelity from.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It looked like fidelity, faithfulness, stuff like that. So it gives it goes in, but on Wikipedia it goes into this, it goes then right into religion. It says the term is employed in a religious or theological context, and then it starts to go down into Baha'i faith,
Right.
Buddhism, and Christianity, Hinduism, Islam, Judaism. It starts to just go down for the rest of the whole article. So
Right.
it's like, it's for what you mentioned was about with the whole idea of faith. It doesn't have to be linked just to religion or what people think religion
Right.
is.
That's a stereotype. It's the word faith has been stereotypically linked with religion. Just like if I said gay, what are you thinking right now? Homosexual.
Yeah.
Gay just means happy. If you said gay, if you said, oh wow, everything was gay today, back in the 50s, people say, well, how happy were you? That from a religious perspective, just to shoot off on religion a little bit, is the device of the devil. If you put a connotation to a word, or even to a people, or even to a belief system, then over the course of time, you could begin to, twist it. Just like my nephew had on a rainbow-colored tie the other day. And my son said to him, oh, you guys are going to have a march next week. He's like, what do you mean? And he says, well, you're wearing a rainbow-colored tie.
It's taken.
So
it's taken, man. You can't touch it.
So you can't just arrest a word or arrest a color scheme or arrest, something stereotypically, but that's what people do. So, the word faith, in its principle, is really just saying there's something I believe to be true. I haven't seen it yet. From a scientific perspective, I haven't done the experiment yet. Doctors use faith all the time. Scientists use faith all the time. They're searching for something they haven't seen yet, but they have, maybe the writings of some scientist from the past.
Okay.
Who says, okay, he got this close to finding it. I just didn't have the time or the money, so they went back and researched it and found it. Same thing with Jacques Cousteau and those guys doing those ship explorations in the big wide ocean, believe they're gonna find this treasure ship. They have no idea if the ocean moved or shifted or sand's covering it, but we're gonna go down and find the Titanic. That's faith.
So like Jim Rohn was saying in one of his I guess philosophy, whatever. He was saying how to make something out of nothing. How would you, if we're trying to make this even more practical to like a 14-year-old, 12-year-old, how would we break that down even further? Faith.
Speaking specifically towards God now?
No, not even yet. All I'm
Okay.
saying is a person, like a young person comes up to you and says, I don't believe in God, and I'm not really interested in going to church and stuff. But I heard my grandmother talk about faith. What is that? What's that about?
Okay.
How would you break that down?
Basically the same way, breaking it down to a young child, or even to my daughter's 11. And if she says, Dad, I got to write something in school about faith, I would just say to her, faith is having the hope in something that you believe to be true, but have not seen and or proven it yet, so you pursue after it in order to find the evidence of that truth. Or faith on another perspective can also be from the perspective of consistency, faithfulness. In other words, I fully believe that every time I take my phone out of this holster and turn it on, as long as I get a green light, it's gonna come on. That's faith. That's putting faith in this little button and the man who designed this little button that every time I press this, it's gonna come on. And if my phone is faithful to me, it will always come on. Faith is you know, I put $1 million in the bank, and I expect that when I come back there, every day I'm going to put my card in, you know, I'm going to find that the balance I left there is still there. That's faith. I believe that, you know, the code I put on that little magnetic strip on the back is always going to be the same code I have to put in every single time until I change it. That's faith. You know, so we have faith in from the least things to the greatest of things. You know, so God basically just says, okay, fine. You have faith. Faith is a principle. Now, have faith in me.
Now, how do people who don't believe in God actually show signs that they have faith in Him? Is that possible? Can you not believe in God, but yet still, you know, show faith that you have faith in Him without even knowing?
Want to tackle that, Mike?
I mean, some people say, I don't believe in God, but yet still they do things, I would believe that shows that.
They say they believe in
They
God,
believe in Him?
but
they don't believe in Him.
but
In other words,
But what?
they say, okay, there's no God there, but they'll pray, or, you know, they'll do little things that indicate that there's a belief, there's some faith in Him.
that's an agnostic, you know, in my view. You're even if you're not admitting it, you're entertaining the idea, because then it's like, who you're praying to.
Or a very oxymoronic kind of person.
Yeah, you're confused. You're confused. You know, you can't just you say I don't believe in God, then you're praying to some some kind of vast, kind of invisible void, and it's like
That's religion versus faith. Faith is often connotated along with religion, which is true, because you can't have religion without some kind of faith. You know, but if I say that I don't believe there's a God, but I'm gonna pray, you know, whether hopes that there might be or might not be, or I don't believe there is, but I'm just gonna pray anyway, that's a religious practice. You know, a religious practice doesn't necessarily make one faithful. Because remember, faith is based on actual truth and evidence. So when God says, okay, I mean, that's the issue that Jesus had with the Jews when they were fighting. Not to isolate a particular group, but just to pull an example of the argument. Jesus said, you search the scriptures, for in them you think you have eternal life. But you would not, but they are they which testify of me. But you won't come to me that you may have life. He was basically saying, listen, you're going through this book as a religious formality, believing it comes from God, and this book speaks about me and when I was supposed to come. And you did all that as a religious thing, and now I'm here saying, okay, hey, I'm the guy the book spoke about, and you're saying, well, we don't believe that.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. It's like you're not, and some people do this. I know I've done this in my life. Is you actually want something to happen. You know something is supposed to happen, and then when it happens, you're like, oh nah, this can't be. I'm like, well, if you saying this is what it's supposed to be, I believe in this book. I believe in what's supposed to be happening in this book, and then all of a sudden somebody comes up and it seems like with faith there's just certain expectations that seem to just to flood it. And it's saying if you're going to trust in something, you might as well just trust in what it's saying. But then it's like people have faith, and it gets blurred up in this whole expectation thing. It's like, well, I have faith that something's going to happen to me tomorrow, and I have actual written evidence that it's going to happen tomorrow. And then when it happens in a way that I'm not comfortable with, I'm saying, oh, you know what, I don't know. And then the faith just fails. It just falls away.
That raises the point too that, you know, if faith starts with belief, you know, what precedes belief? What must precede belief is the desire for truth. That's why John 3:17 says, you know, for the Son of Man didn't come into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him may be saved. But this is the condemnation, that light has come into the world, but men, you know, to paraphrase it, but men don't want it. You know, all right, yeah, I'm searching for truth. All right, I just gave you the truth. All right, I don't want it. Why? Because it goes against what I want, you know, or the desire that I have. So, to the point that Mike made, you know, if somebody has a desire, you know, no scientist could have, you know, pursued some research unless they had the desire to pursue it. You know, no one could, you know, exercise the faith to pick up their phone unless they had the desire to do it. I believe that my hand is not going to fail me when I go to pick my phone up, you know, but unless I have the desire to pick my phone up, I'll never even make the effort in the first place. So I have to have the desire. That's where God says, you know, you'll search for me, and you'll find me when you search for me with your heart. Why with your heart? Because that's where your desire comes from. That's where your desire lives.